anyone who's getting their retightenings at 4 weeks, even 4 or 5, and for many of you 6 weeks for sure, needs to watch this video. You will be in for the surprise of a lifetime in a lot less time than you think if you keep up that type of a traumatizing ritual. This is a video you definitely want to see, so make sure you stick around. Don't forget to give back. You don't want to interfere with the universal laws of giving and receiving, so please give this video a like, share it, or subscribe, and let's go ahead and get ready to dive deep into this topic. Before digging into today's content, I did want to take a few minutes to delve into and share with you some of the successes that the magical hair growth serum is having for those clients who have chosen to use the I Am Melanin Magic hair brand's natural hair and skincare products. This particular individual here, Mr. Jimmy, has been dealing with various levels of hair loss for many years, and he has chosen to use the I Am Melanin Magic brand's magical hair growth serum in order to assist him. After having tried many products over a period of time and experiencing no success, he is now currently having quite a bit of success with the magical hair growth serum. In a very short period, to include 8 weeks, he has experienced a major shift and transformation in his hair growth journey. These are just some of the results of the magical hair growth serum. Jimmy was using the magical hair growth serum 5 days each week consecutively. He would apply it on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The I Am Melanin Magic brand has helped countless women, thousands of women, to restore their hair, to bring more nutritive support to their hair, to strengthen it, to fortify it, to condition it, and to keep it healthy, boosting not only their confidence, but also giving them an important tool in their hair care regimen. The magical hair growth serum can help to restore lost hair. It can assist you in providing a strong foundation for new hair growth, and it can also be used on all hair types. Magical hair growth serum can be used with protective styles as well as wigs and braids, and also on natural hair. We appreciate all of your support, and we are grateful for your patronage. I Am Melanin Magic, and so are you. You can purchase your copy of Manifesting Your Masterpiece on barnesandnoble.com and also Amazon. I've had a lot of people on this channel in the comments, and people that have contacted me, and then stories about stories that were told to me where sisters are being recommended to get retightenings on a regular basis at 4 and 5 weeks. You see these? First of all, let me tell you, I don't have high density hair. But you see this? This area on this side of my hair were always low density, even before I got my Sisterlocks. But you see this? You can see my scalp. My hair is abundant. I'm not suffering. And although a big part of the resilience of my hair is the I Am Melanin Magic brand, an even bigger part is the fact that I take an active role in my hair care. I take an active role in my hair care survival, and I empower myself to make the choices that only I'm supposed to be making anyway. Somebody else who doesn't know my hair intimately the way I do, someone else who my hair does not communicate its state of oppression to, someone else who has not been with me from the cradle and is not going to be with me from the cradle to the grave, someone else who is more invested in the here and now and immediate gratification rather than delayed gratification and the ultimate longevity of my hair health and my hairstyle, that person is not equipped to make some of the most important decisions that need to be made about my hair, because I'm the one that's most invested financially, emotionally, mentally, and physically. You cannot turn those decisions over to someone just because they have a credential, or just because they are in blind worship or in idol worship to a policy or a mandate or an expectation regarding what it is you need to do about your hair, and someone who applies a blanket methodology or a blanket system or a one way in, one way out sort of mentality to people's hair, when we all have unique energetic imprints. Our hair is no different than our fingerprint. It's no different than your aura. There's nothing else like it on the planet. So how is my hair going to need what your hair needs? How is my hair going to respond the way your hair responds? How are you going to tell me how I must do my hair? It ain't going to happen to Tanisha Ali. And you need to join the club, and you need to make sure that you begin to rethink some of the things that you have been told are okay. Because I can promise you, if you continue to get that retightening at 4, 5, and 6 weeks, I don't care how long it takes, inevitably, you're going to come to a place where your hair will no longer be able to revive itself. It will no longer be able to resuscitate. It will no longer be able to respond. And you are going to experience fallout, breakage, thinning, and follicles perhaps that are going to be on life support if you're lucky. It is so easy when we are in the peak of this hairstyle and we're enjoying the beauty of it, and we're listening to the person, and we're not experiencing problems with the hairstyle as of yet. But here's the thing, and you've heard me say this a lot: hair breakage, hair loss, systemic inflammation that can sometimes be underneath the surface waiting to just pop up. It's kind of like weight. It's insidious. It happens just a little bit at a time, and then you wake up one morning and you can't get in those jeans, and you're like, well, you get on the scale, you picked up like 7 or 8 pounds, but you're asking yourself, where did this come from? When you lose a lock, I have never lost a lock in 13 years. I've never lost a lock. Now I got some locks that are shorter than the other ones. I got one over here that's really short. I got 2 in the back. I did those to myself, okay? I've got a few that I snapped off so I could put a little piece up here as I grow new locks around my hairline. But I've never lost a lock. And you know why I've never lost a lock? Because I've done my retightenings at 11 and a half to 12 weeks, sometimes somewhere between, on average, 11 and 12 weeks for over 12 years, or at least 12 years. Because I've been putting oil in my hair since day one. I've been using my own blend of essential oils after the first year, because I make the decision based on what my hair tells me. I wash it as little or as much as I need to. I don't listen to someone tell me how often I need to wash it. I don't listen to someone tell me that I don't need to put oil on it. And I certainly am not going to listen to anyone telling me I need to come in every 4 weeks, every 5 weeks, every 6 weeks, every 7 weeks. At the most, I would consider 8 weeks, 8 to 9 weeks at the earliest. So me and certain locticians aren't even going to vibe. For fun, I've gone around since the time that I used to live in Atlanta, talking to different locticians and asking them, you know, what do they require for me to make an appointment, and just trying to get some preliminary information about them and how they operate. And the majority of them say 6 weeks. And if you're coming after 6 weeks, there's an extra amount for 7 weeks. There's another amount for 8 weeks, and blah, 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 blah. And what they are doing is they are steering the cows and the sheep to slaughter. And they themselves aren't even thinking about the fact that this is going to disarm and handicap a majority of women who sought out this hairstyle, whether you want to call it Microlocks or Sisterlocks, for the purpose of experiencing hair abundance. They don't have to care about that. 9 times out of 10, over 60% of us aren't going to be with the same loctician in a couple years that you are with now. Even a smaller percentage of us are going to actually be with the same loctician that installed our locks. And so they're not going to have to clean up the spilled milk. They're not going to have to answer to you, because you might have hopped around between several locticians and you may not even know who to point the finger at. But I can promise you, unless and until we put our foot down, unless and until we start to speak up and we start to vote with our feet, or if you can't get what you want in the marketplace, then you, God bless the child who's got his own, become self-reliant, and you become interdependent for what you need, but independent for what is a requirement, which is participating in the rescue or being an active participant in your own hair care journey, and hopefully not your rescue. You're going to have to begin. It's going to have to begin at the grassroots level. This educating your loctician, this telling her you can't tighten them this frequently. You can't tighten them all the way down to my scalp. You can't make it so difficult so that it hurts or my hair is sore. If you do your own retightenings and you take your time and you're tender and you don't retighten all the way to the scalp, you won't even feel like you've had your hair retightened. That's the way it's supposed to be. Your hair shouldn't feel tight. It shouldn't hurt at all. But because of the hairstyles that we've grown up with culturally and historically, we think that a nice hairstyle has to be pulling like this and that it has to hurt. We don't even have the sense, a lot of us, to see the direct correlation and causative relationship between something being pulled tight and eventually you developing hair loss in that area or hair trauma. And for those of you that have low density hair, you're at particular risk because you're already starting out with less strands per square inch, which means your locks typically tend to be a little bit thinner, making them a bit more fragile. And the first place you're going to be losing locks is going to be right around here and right in there. Sometimes, and my position is that can be for any number of reasons, and even the way and the angle at which your loctician is standing when she's doing your hair can make a difference, along with a lot of other things that I believe we don't even give consideration to. If you're not going to be willing to take over your own retightenings and to free your hair and to free your hands to do what needs to be done, then you need to speak to your loctician about moving your retightenings out. And I know what some of you say, well, you know, by that time my hair is getting tangled and it's doing, look at here. All right, I'm at 8 weeks. Let me show you. I'm going to show you a few of these locks. I'm at 8 weeks. I'm going to 12. This is just one of them. This isn't even one that's as long as some of the others, where I have a ton of space. I have more space than this in some of the other ones. Yep, this is one. Let me show you what I mean. Stop it. You see this? But if you're maintaining your hair the way you're supposed to be maintaining your hair and you haven't taken a hands-off approach, you can do something about that. The last video I did, well, my hair was a mess because of my spiritual baths. I take them 3 to 6 times a week, sometimes every day. I work out, I exercise, I do other things. That makes my hair respond. You don't think my hair gets tangled? But that's why I use my I Am Melanin Magic Oil and I gently pull it apart. And rather than it snapping, it gently stretches and it finally releases and lets go. I go through my locks and I have to get them straight. I have to get them straight. You see that new growth? And I have 4 more weeks before my next retightening. There's no excuse. There's no excuse to believe someone that tells you that you need to get your retightenings that frequently. They can say that now, and they have a lot to say now. I know that what I'm saying is not popular, but I promise you, some of them are saying that in addition to telling their clients that they don't need to put any oil on their hair, which is absurd. It is obscene. It's not even something that you could do if you didn't have Sisterlocks. So what in the world would make you think that you can do it when you have Sisterlocks, when your hair is under more stress, technically, when these at-risk rituals that we do cyclically, namely the retightenings, are stripping your hair of its integrity and affecting the foundation of your hair and creating cumulative casualties over time and a lot of collateral damage. What makes you think that you can afford that kind of trauma that often, and that you're going to be able to thrive 2-3 years down the road. Some of you have lost locks already. You're not even 2 or 3 years down the road. Some of you are already edged out, crowned out, and losing hair in other areas. And when you're going to get these retightenings, because of the fact that the marketplace is rife with people that are incompetent, people that are not like Dee Dee, who talks to you on the channel and who also spoke at the last Zoom, the retightening Zoom that we had here on the channel a few weeks ago. You know, you'd be hard pressed to find locticians like Dee Dee, who are going to be very emphatic, just like Shay, and tell you that, hey, I may look at your hair and a certain part may not need retightening, but the rest may. Or I expect you to come to me and tell me what your hair needs. These are people who have transcended a sheep way of mentality and are looking at you and your hair care needs as an individual. These are people who are greatly invested in your overall health of your hair. Everyone that goes to a loctician who experiences hair loss gets the same thing once they begin themselves to realize they've lost hair. The first is they wonder why the loctician hasn't said anything. She's sitting over your head every several weeks. She's looking at it. She says very little of anything. And if she does say something, it doesn't equate with her accepting any responsibility whatsoever for what's going on. And it ends in, or it culminates in, you being told to get a referral to go to a dermatologist, or perhaps they give you the name of a trichologist, or they suggest something that you can use on your hair. But there's never a correlation between the obvious, which is the retightening. So we're talking about retightening every 4, 5, and 6 weeks. You better stop, and you better give it some serious thought, because if you don't, you may be one of the unlucky people that by the time you realize it's harmful, the damage is already done. And either you have to cut your locks, you have to take them out, you have to perform some sort of intervention. And that intervention can be quite painful, emotionally and physically, or you just end up in a place where you are mentally and emotionally just done, outdone, and wondering what to do next and feeling very traumatized. That person that is telling you to come in like that, that person is either one of two things: not going to be anywhere to be found when your hair starts falling out and it starts thinning, or they're not going to accept any responsibility for it whatsoever. It's your job to be on the front end of this instead of on the receiving end of it. It's your job to think outside the box. It's your job to understand that it's just like a area of grass. You guys have seen, I talked to you about Albie. She'll run from one side of the yard to the other side when we were in Snellville. All right, when I moved here, she'd run the circuit of the backyard and the driveway constantly, to where she's carving out a path in the cement. Okay, and I've only been here for a year and a half. Took her back to Snellville last week, put her in the yard there, and within one day, not even a full day, but within one day, several hours of being in that yard in the evening, there was a dirt track back out there that had regrown a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. That's the same thing. Stress. What do they say? You remember that movie Shawshank Redemption? When he was taking that little, I think it was a geology hammer. I forget what he called it. But he bargained with Morgan Freeman and the rest of them to get this little tiny hammer. And he would go in every night and chip away at the wood, at the cement on the cell wall, because his plan was to tunnel through the whole wall. And as he was chipping away at it each night, everybody thought he was crazy, because they said, come on, what you gonna do with that little tiny little hammer? It couldn't have been any bigger than this. And he said, pressure and time. You can break anything by pressure and time. That's the same thing I'm talking about with Albie. She's like erosion. She's doing a better job than the rain would do in terms of eroding that cement back there. It's going to do the same thing. You got this grid already, which is an unnatural thing. And I've been telling y'all for a long time, stop obsessing about that grid. That grid is not your friend. You've got that grid, and you have carved out a place that you continually stress again and again and again and again. And most of you, over half of you, can easily say my retightenings are not painless. They may not be painful, Some of you have to take aspirin, and some of you have to do all sorts of tricks and tips after a session. But even for those of you who don't, you may still experience soreness. Do you think that that can go unchecked indefinitely, and you're still going to be able to experience the abundance that you should be able to with locks? And why is it that the excuse is always, well, oh, I'm in my 40s and 50s, and you know when you get to this age, A, B, C, and D starts to happen? That may well be true, but that may not be the whole story. All I know is my mother's hair has not thinned. Both of my grandmothers went to the grave with a head full of hair. My sister's hair before she passed away was double the thickness of mine. Excuse me one moment, I need to turn the ringer off. Her hair was double the thickness of mine. Uh-oh, this might be Miss... this is Miss Melissa. It's Miss Melissa. Hello, Miss Blake. No, Melissa, can you... Right. Right. Yes. Yes. Right. You know it, right? It is now dark and I'm coming to close this video out. I almost forgot my phone was out here. I got to talking with Miss Blake's. If you guys know anything about Miss Blake's, Melissa Blake, she is the knotted locks guru. And she rescues people from some of the trials and tribulations that can be a part of the experience of having these small locks. And I was drawn to her work and seriously considering transitioning while my hair is still healthy. You guys know the things and the concerns that I've had about Sisterlocks ever since starting the channel. And I feel like in my spirit, this is the right decision for me. And so I'm going to be making some serious decisions over the next few days. Wasn't anything that I had planned for. It happened out of nowhere, but I don't believe in coincidences. Other than a coincidence is the perfect coinciding of events. Synchronicity. This is by divine decree. I'm going to be making a shift, and it's going to feel revolutionary, but I think I got to do it to save my hair and to keep it beautiful like this. I think I'm going to have to do it. And so that's the way it's going to have to be. We'll see, y'all, but I got to go. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I'm telling you, if you're on a 4-week schedule, you need to cut it out. Tell them to just stop. Just stop. I love you. I Am Melanin Magic's fragrance bombs are explosive. Get your charcoal. Make sure you heat it on a heat source long enough so that the charcoal turns gray on all 4 sides before you place any of the incense, bahor, or unsi on top of the charcoal. Take a small piece, if not the entire ball, take a small piece of your fragrance bomb. And as you break off that small piece, place it on the gray charcoal and enjoy the concentrated aromatics, fragrances, and natural ingredients. Our fragrance bombs are the bomb. Use in a ventilated area and use when you need fragrance all over your space. Feminize and romanticize. I am Melanin Magic, and so are you.